guys? This your boy John on Liquidator coming back with breaking news, hot off the press. So it looked like WNBA players has agreed to Cathy Engelbert 30-day extension. Guys, for this one here, we got to go all the way up to New York. Let's get it. Let's go. We're going to jump right into this thing right now, man. News is coming out of the WNBA pipeline that the players has agreed to basically not have a lockout for right now. Let's head on over to X, man. This story is still developing. It literally just came out 2 minutes ago. Ben Pickman dropped it 2 minutes ago.
So they actually did it. WNBA players and Commissioner Cathy Engelbert have just agreed to a crucial 30-day extension. Talk about a bombshell, right? This literally just happened, pulling the league back from the brink of a massive lockout. This wasn't just another routine discussion. It was a high-stakes standoff with the league's entire future on the line. Agreeing to continue talks until November 30th shows just how intense the current power dynamic really is. You can almost hear everyone sighing in relief, but honestly, this is only the beginning of a much bigger battle for control and fair pay. Thursday's quick decision helped dodge an immediate crisis, but it's paving the way for even tougher negotiations that could completely reshape player contracts and salary structures. This isn't just a delay, it's a calculated strategic pause that clearly shows how much more influence the players now hold.
Still developing. It literally just came out 2 minutes ago. Ben Pickman dropped it 2 minutes ago. Stated the 30-day extension will run through November the 30th per sources. The WNBA and WPA reached a resolution on Thursday on a 30-day extension, man. So The Athletic was the ones who really just dropped it. When did they drop? Oh, they haven't even posted it yet. But as you guys can see here, they have reached a 30-day extension. And yeah, man, I told y'all. I don't think it's...
So that scary Halloween lockout is officially off the table now. This extension pushes the deadline for a new agreement to the end of November, and that's huge. Instead of players being locked out of team facilities and the entire league grinding to a halt, they've got another month to work things out. And let's be real, the implications for the WNBA are massive. A lockout would have been absolutely devastating, especially for a league that's still growing and trying to find stable financial footing. It wouldn't just be bad for business. It would seriously disrupt their momentum and profitability at a critical time. Unlike larger, more established leagues, the WNBA simply can't afford to hit pause. Not now, when it's finally gaining major attention. So, stepping back from a lockout shows that everyone understands the stakes. Continuity is everything for the league.
As you guys can see here, they have reached a 30-day extension. And yeah, man, I told y'all, I don't think it's going to be a lockout. I told y'all that. Y'all can keep listening to other people all y'all want, but I told y'all I don't see it. I'm a businessman, and them having a lockout is not good for business because for the simple fact, the business is still developing. They're not in a good standard at all, which no league really is in a good standard to have a lockout, but especially the WNBA.
Okay, so this whole situation, first reported by Ben Pickman, means the 2026 season is looking normal for now, which definitely helps calm some nerves. But here's the catch. After November 30th, that shadow of uncertainty still looms large. This temporary truce only buys time, leaving the long-term future of player agreements and the league's financial model completely up in the air. The real question isn't if they'll reach a deal, but what kind of deal will come out of these extended talks, and who actually benefits from it, right? And get this. This crucial negotiation period now bumps right up against the WNBA lottery draft. That's a huge concern if an agreement isn't reached by then. Would the draft even happen as planned, or would that major event get thrown off too? The possibility of disruption so close to such an important milestone only adds more pressure to these already high-stakes discussions between the WNBA and the Players Association.
Which no league really is in a good standard to have a lockout, but especially the WNBA, bro. I'm not seeing this being profitable for the league. I'm not seeing this being a good thing for the ladies, especially with the current state of the WNBA right now. We all could agree on that. And yeah, man. So it looked like the negotiations will go on through the 30th, and it's just going to be interesting to see how everything plays out. Somebody said 30-day. Yeah. What?
Look, this situation is completely different from any past WNBA labor dispute, and it's all because of a massive shift in player leverage. Back in the day, players simply didn't have the same bargaining power they do now. But today, many WNBA stars are earning serious money outside their league salaries. They're diversifying their income, building brands, and investing smartly. This financial strength off the court has totally changed the game when it comes to negotiations. It gives players the power to demand higher pay and a fairer salary structure. That old era when players depended solely on league paychecks to get by is over, and that gives them a huge advantage at the bargaining table. Now, they can confidently say, "Meet our demands for a better standard, or we won't play." And that statement carries a lot more weight today. This new level of financial independence makes it much harder.
And that's going to be a crazy time, too, because that's getting close to the WNBA lottery draft. So if there's a lockout, like, would there still be a lottery draft? You know, like, would it still, like, how is we going to go about that? You know, like, is they going to get another 30-day extension? I don't know, guys. I don't know. But what I can tell you is that it's not going to be a lockout, bro. As of right now, the WNBA has come up with a system. It came up with an agreement to basically...
And honestly, the real face of this new wave of player power is Caitlin Clark. She's on a massive media tour right now, absolutely taking New York by storm. Her arrival in the pros has fundamentally changed everything, bringing a level of attention and marketability to the WNBA that we've simply never seen. Before, Clark's personal brand and enormous fan base give her a kind of leverage that didn't exist in the past. She's not just a basketball player anymore, but she's a cultural phenomenon. Nominated for Time Magazine's Athlete of the Year and recognized as one of the most powerful women in sports, her influence extends far beyond the court. This individual star power gives her immense sway in these ongoing negotiations, directly affecting both the league's financial stability and its public image. Her mere presence creates enormous pressure on the WNBA to build a strong, stable environment that supports and retains its top talent.
And yeah. Now, moving on to other news, man. We got to talk about Caitlin Clark because I'm seeing some stuff that I did not see earlier. But it's this Caitlin Clark arrival onto the stage in New York. Caitlin Clark is on full-blown media run right now. What's this? Let's see. Caitlin outside right now, bro. Now see Caitlin.
But here's the thing. There's a really crucial and maybe even cynical point to consider. How many WNBA players actually have this kind of massive leverage? While it sounds great to talk about player empowerment, the reality is that it's likely concentrated among just a few. Maybe 3, 4, or 5 of the league's 50-plus players truly have the individual power to influence negotiations on their own terms. For the vast majority, WNBA salaries remain their main source of income, which makes them far more vulnerable at the bargaining table. This creates an interesting and delicate dynamic. What the league's biggest stars want might not always align with what the broader player base needs. And that difference could really test the union's unity. It's a nuanced reality that shows even though player influence is growing, this kind of individual star power isn't evenly distributed across the roster. It's still very much concentrated at the top.
Right? Because the history of the league is so detailed and so deep, and the one thing that didn't exist in past negotiations is the players holding this amount of leverage. And what we're seeing now is players are getting paid well beyond the WNBA. So when you're in negotiations, for increased pay, a changed standard when it comes to the salary structure, you can say and back up, well, I have X, Y, and Z beyond the WNBA.
And this big difference in leverage really highlights the potential tension brewing within the Players Association itself. While the WNBPA aims to represent everyone equally, the massive marketability of a few superstars, like Caitlin Clark, is reshaping what collective power actually looks like. The league knows it needs these top-tier talents to survive and grow, especially as it tries to expand its visibility and brand. That reality creates an unspoken hierarchy in the negotiation room, where what a player like Clark or Reese demands might carry far more weight than what a journeyman player asks for. The real challenge for the union is figuring out how to channel that star power to benefit everyone, making sure that all this new attention and revenue lead to better pay and working conditions across the board, not just for the elite few. Navigating that internal balance will be absolutely critical as this extension period continues and the next phase of negotiations begins.
Maybe 5. Got that much leverage, got that much ball in their court where they can say, you know what, meet me in the middle somewhere. Let's just be honest here, Annie. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all be trying to make these ladies out bigger than what they really are. You know what I'm saying? We all got to keep it real. Only Caitlin for sure could do it. But how many other these, out of 150 some players, how many of them actually got that power, bro?
It was a totally different league. The attention wasn't there yet. We were on the cusp of a global pandemic, and the entire business model was different.
So the conversation about player leverage doesn't just stop with Caitlin Clark. Angel Reese, another major star, is now flexing her business power off the court by trademarking her own name. A remarkably smart move. It's a clear statement of control over her name, image, and likeness. Trademarking ensures Angel Reese has the final say in how her identity is used for marketing and merchandise, preventing anyone from exploiting it without her permission. This marks a growing trend among top athletes, building personal brands, strengthening their financial independence, and refusing to rely solely on league salaries. It's proof that players are turning themselves into full-fledged businesses, using modern opportunities to protect their assets and maximize earnings beyond traditional contracts. Reese's move highlights a critical shift in how athletes approach their careers. It's no longer just about playing basketball. It's about building a personal empire by controlling their brand. Reese is essentially future-proofing her income, ensuring her identity remains hers to manage while protecting herself from negative media or unauthorized use. This step sends a powerful message to both the league and other players that brand ownership is now a core part of being an athlete. It reinforces the idea that players aren't just employees. They're independent entrepreneurs with substantial market value. The league now faces a generation of players who are financially savvy and determined to monetize their fame on their own terms and to demand more because of it. What's fascinating is how quickly this power shift is happening. When the story first broke, even the speaker discussing it admitted they hadn't realized Reese had already filed for a trademark. That lack of awareness shows just how fast these moves are unfolding. Grassroots, player-driven initiatives redefining financial independence in real time. This independence directly reshapes the entire leverage discussion. Players who can generate significant income outside the WNBA are less tied to its salary structure, giving them greater negotiating power to push for revolutionary changes in pay and benefits. The core of these ongoing talks is about far more than modest raises. It's about a complete overhaul of the financial model to reflect what today's stars are truly worth. The old era, where players had limited opportunities to earn beyond league contracts, is over. Now, the WNBA must figure out how to align its pay structure with the broader economic reality of its stars, or risk losing top talent to more lucrative ventures elsewhere. The tension is clear. How much can a developing league afford, and how much are players willing to sacrifice when their off-court opportunities are booming? The contrast with the 2019 labor dispute couldn't be sharper. Back then, the WNBA was in a completely different place. Less visibility, less investment, and far more financial uncertainty, especially with the pandemic on the horizon. Players had less leverage, and their demands faced tougher resistance. But today, the WNBA enjoys unprecedented visibility, driven by breakout stars, surging fan engagement, and extensive media coverage. This spotlight brings in more potential revenue, which directly strengthens the player's position at the negotiating table. The historical context underscores just how pivotal this moment is. The league has to capitalize on this surge in attention, but to do that, it must create a fair and forward-thinking agreement that reflects the immense value its players bring. Many analysts argued that a lockout was always unlikely. For one simple reason, it would make no business sense. The WNBA, still in its growth phase, couldn't afford to halt operations and sabotage its own momentum. From a practical standpoint, a lockout would have been a self-inflicted wound during a time of record popularity and new investment. That business-first logic proved accurate, resulting in the 30-day extension instead. More than any other sports league, the WNBA understands that continuity and growth are non-negotiable priorities right now. Despite major progress, the league still faces unique challenges that shape these high-stakes negotiations. Everyone recognizes that this is a critical period for building a strong foundation and scaling up sustainably. Every decision, especially regarding labor, carries enormous weight. The success of this extension, and eventually the new collective bargaining agreement, CBA, will depend on both sides sharing a long-term vision. Players want fair compensation. The league needs sustainable growth. Achieving both means smart compromises that protect the WNBA's future while rewarding the talent driving its rise. One of the biggest short-term concerns remains the upcoming WNBA lottery draft. If these talks don't result in a long-term deal by November, a lockout at that moment could be disastrous, derailing player development, team planning, and overall league momentum. Keeping major events like the draft on track is essential to maintaining fan engagement and ensuring a stable talent pipeline. That deadline pressure adds urgency, forcing both sides to find common ground quickly. The rise of player entrepreneurship, like Angel Reese's trademark, perfectly captures this new era. It's part of a larger movement toward personal branding and financial control. Athletes are protecting their identities, expanding their earning power, and redefining what it means to be a professional in modern sports. Ultimately, this 30-day extension is a strategic pause, not an ending. It averts an immediate crisis, but pushes the core questions of compensation, salary structure, and revenue sharing into the coming weeks. All eyes are now on Commissioner Cathy Engelbert and WNBA leadership to close the gap with a player base that's more empowered and financially sophisticated than ever. The outcome of these negotiations won't just determine new contracts. It will redefine the entire economic model of the WNBA, shaping its growth, stability, and global appeal for years to come. As the November 30th deadline approaches, the world is watching to see whether this new era of player power ushers in a golden age for women's basketball or exposes even deeper divisions ahead.